Hey guys, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today I thought we'd do something a little different since most of the time I work on cars, but this is what I do for fun, mountain biking. So this is my 2010 Chumba HX2 that I recently set up as a single speed this year, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, just the simplicity alone I'm really kind of a big fan of, because during a long race you don't want any mechanicals, like that'll ruin your race. So the simpler the better, right? So I'll just take you along. It needs a little tune up here, just for fun. So just something a little different. So what I wanted to take care of today, first of all, let's take a look at this wheel. Looks a little wobbly, huh? Oh yeah. Probably hit a log or something last weekend doing a race up actually close to Eric O's neck of the woods, northern PA. It was raining all day long. And the second issue is here, the bearings in the bottom bracket, they're seized up. I mean, it's supposed to turn real smooth. So these Shimano bearings, they don't last more than a couple months if you actually ride in wet weather. So we'll be getting some parts off of my old bike here, the geared Chumba, and that one I had a Chris King bottom bracket installed. You know, $100 but it's money well spent, since it just lasts, it's supposed to last forever. So bent wheel, seized bearings, and this chain, you know, on a single speed you don't have a derailleur tensioning your chain. So on this bike the design has a eccentric bottom bracket. See how the bottom bracket is off center from the frame? So you can turn the whole assembly and change the distance between, you know, the center line of the bottom bracket and your axle back here. That's how you tension the chain. So let's get to it. So first, when truing the wheel, I actually use the frame of the bike as a truing stand, and you want your, the center of the tread to line up with the center of your frame. So then what you can do is put a marker right here along the seat stay, and wherever it touches is where, we can see the wheel is going to the left. Wherever it touches, that's where we're going to need to move the wheel that way. So you can see the marker made a line right around here, and check the spoke tension. When the wheel is this bent, usually you can't straighten it all the way just by loosening and tightening the spokes. And especially, this wheel, it's pretty light aluminum rim, and I've actually gone through a few of these. And you can build up a stronger rim that's going to be heavier. And then the nipples here on the spokes, they're also aluminum, so you can't really crank on these, and they'll kind of disintegrate. So what we're going to do is just take the wheel off, loosen the spokes on this side, and whack it against the ground a couple times just to get it mostly straight, and finish it off with spoke tightening. So once again, this is our spot, and we want to move the rim that way. So what I'm going to do is take the wheel like this and just whack it against the ground a couple times in that spot. And this is kind of a trial and error. So put it back in the frame, see if it got any straighter. So you can see that's a lot better. Now with a mountain bike wheel, you can take hours and make it perfect, but then the next ride it's not going to be perfect anymore. So I just get it where it's good enough. And last thing we want to do is go through with a spoke tension meter. I mean, you could use your fingers, but I have a little tool that measures the spoke tension and just make sure that all the spokes are tight enough. So here's what a spoke tension meter looks like. It's Park Tools brand, the TM1 tension meter. Now, I don't usually buy expensive tools, but this one is pretty sweet. And here we have a little chart. So the thinner the spoke, the more it's going to flex when you measure it with the meter. So we have to look at our chart. First, let's get a thickness of the spoke. So you can see this little gizmo here. See, 1.8, 1.7. So I have 1.7 millimeter diameter steel spokes. Okay. So you go to here, steel, round, 1.7. You look at the numbers in this column, and basically what you want to be in the middle of this range. You go over here, so our tension meter should read between, oh, let's say 17 and 20. Okay. When you're using the meter, all you do is simply go around the spoke like that and let the spring tension show you the number. So on our little gauge, you see we're reading about 12 or 13. So that spoke is loose. And that means it needs to be tightened. But be careful, if you tighten one spoke too much to spec, the other ones on the other side will get tight too, and you just have to do it very evenly. Don't go all out on one spoke. Just do it a little at a time. We'll do the whole wheel and make sure all the tensions are within spec. Now, as much as I love light aluminum rims, sometimes, if you're ripping descents, especially on a hardtail, you get dings like this right in the rim. See that dent? I mean, no big deal. Tire still holds pressure. It's tubeless. But I think these rims aren't going to last that much longer, and we'll have to build up a stronger one. But anyways, yeah, this wheel is tension straight enough for me. So let's go to the bottom bracket next. So we got the wheel and the chain off. You can see there's some resistance in those bearings. So to take these bottom brackets off, you do need a couple special tools. First of which is just a 5mm hex. So we're going to loosen up this pinch bolts right here. Just take them out. Got on this side. There's a little plate in here with a pin. So put that aside. Now we need special Shimano tool number TLFC16, made in Japan by the way, to fit in this end cup and just turn it out by hand. Alright. Now the left crank arm should just pop right off. No big deal. We'll clean that off later. And now the whole crank assembly should slide out to the passenger side, right through the bearings here. There you go. There's that. Now the bearings. Oh yeah, this one is seized up solid. The right one is still fine, but we're replacing both of them. So that's part one. Now to get the bearing cups off, you need another special tool, just a Shimano bearing cup remover. Now keep in mind, the left cup is threaded normally. The right cup is reverse threaded, and they actually have arrows on here to remind you which way to tighten, which way to loosen. Right there, see? It says tighten normal way. So let's pop that off. And this is a 1/2 inch drive here. I guess I could use a big air gun, but it's stuck. Make sure you torque these to factory specifications when putting them back in. But that's all there is to it. You can see here's our eccentric bottom bracket for tensioning the single speed chain. So there's that. There's the bearing that should be turning, but it's not. So let's pop a new one in. Now when taking out the other side, on some bottom brackets you might have spacers in here depending on the width of your frame. And there's one spacer here, and there's another one stuck on here. And then there's this plastic insert that goes right through the middle of your frame that just pops off, has some O-rings. So that's what the bottom bracket, that's what it looks like. And see this bearing here, it still feels nice and smooth. So whenever I experience a component failure, it's always interesting to take it apart and see what went wrong. Now here are the bearings inside this cup on the left side of the bike. And what we see is the balls are definitely a little rusty in there, and they're not turning like they're supposed to. Now obviously water got in here last weekend when it was pretty much a downpour for 20 miles of racing through the mud. Well, here's a seal design. It's rubberized on the outside and it snaps into the cup like that, and then there's a plastic sleeve, which I kind of broke when taking it out, but that sleeve rides, the lip of the seal rides on the sleeve, and that whole thing turns inside. So obviously this seal is not that great. Somewhere in here water managed to get through, maybe between the sleeve and the seal, but that's what that looks like. So that's toast. And you can actually press these bearings out and then press new ones in that have a better seal, just, you know, your typical sealed ball bearings, not like this style. I don't think they're even sealed on the inside here. So, alright, let's get the new one in. Alright, now that we got our Chris King bottom bracket out of the donor bike, let's get these seals off of here and re-grease the bearings before putting it on a single speed. So what we need to do is first use a little pry bar, pull these plastic sleeves out of the inner race. It should just pop right out. Okay. Wipe off the grit. Now these seals are held in by a retaining ring. So all we need to do is see a little gap in there. Get in there with a pick and just gently pry that out. Use a little screwdriver, whatever is convenient. So I'm prying at that gap right in there. Come on, okay. Obviously be careful not to damage the seal itself. See, once you have that ring started, it should just pop right out, kind of like peeling a can or something. There you go. So there's the ring. And now the seal itself. It's actually, it doesn't look like much, it's just a little piece of, I don't know what this is, canvas. But be gentle with it, just wipe it off. Spray a little WD-40 on there. Alright, our seal is clean. Now looking at the ball bearings, yeah, they're pretty much out of grease. They're dry, but these are stainless steel balls, so they're not going to rust. They're just going to get gritty. So what I do usually is flush them out with a little WD-40, spin them. You actually hear the grit getting flushed out of there. You get a little compressed air. And just kind of gently blow. Get that grit right out of there. You can see there's little spots of rust on the inner race. So I'm going to clean this out a little better, and then we're going to pack it full of fresh grease. So now that the bearing's nice and clean, there's no more gritty feel, we'll take some fill waterproof grease available at your local bike shop. It's kind of pricey, but it's really good stuff, and you don't need much of it. This tube lasts years. So I'm just going to pack some in right into the cages in there. Now you don't want to overfill it, otherwise it's going to drag, but you know, just pack it in and rotate it, and the balls will actually suck in the grease and get it nice and distributed in there. That's feeling real smooth. Oh yeah. Maybe just a touch more. Right in there. Alright, now we just have to pop our seal back in. Make sure it's nice and clean. Yep, looks good. Seat it right around the bearing there. And then our snap ring, the seat's in the outer race, so we get it started. Usually I just get the same little screwdriver and kind of pop it in there. The trick is getting the seal to sit in its home, and the snap ring should just cover it, you know, nicely. Let's try that again. So press down on the ring and then out. Should get into its groove there. Beauty. Look at that. Again, check for smoothness. Make sure the seal rides evenly all the way around. That's one side done. We'll do the same to the other side and pop it in into our Chumba. So we got our bottom bracket cups all set here. We just need to torque them down. And the spec is 40 Newton meters. If you do some math, that's about 30 foot-pounds. So we'll do that to avoid any creaks. Make sure everything's nice and quiet. And that's it. Remember, this guy is reverse threaded, so that's it. Alright, reverse of assembly is, or assembly is reverse of disassembly, so that'll be it for that, and I'll show you the finished product. Now that the bike is all back together, I'm going for a ride. Catch you guys next time.